Here's the field for tonight's first race as they parade to the post behind Parade Marshal Kathy McDonald. First half of the daily double. Number 1, C.C. Tessie, owned by Charles and Kathleen Kidd, driven by Kenny Kidd. 2 is Attitude, owned by Troy Thomas with Don Feaster. 3, Touch of Summer, owned by Ronald Breechler and Del S. Miller. Number 4, Double AC, owned by Richard Stevens and Sal Nacera. Dave Miller will be aboard. Number 5 is Newcomb Vespers, owned by Neil and Alvin Long and Roger Reed. Brad Hanners will be in the bike. 6, Don't Lie to Me, owned by Clarence and Clarence Mayhew Jr. with Sean Mayhew. 7, Racin' Jesse B, owned by Jim Plummer with Bill Long Jr. 8 is True Image, owned by Dana Ross and Jeff Fout. 9, DJ Gray, owned by Charles, Robert Thomas, and William Wingfield with Brett Merkel. 10, Lisa's Dandy, owned by Mervyn Kinner. Dave Hawk will be in the sulky. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Attitude takes the lead. C.C. Tessie along the rail. Newcomb Vesters kicks on from third. Racin' Jesse B wide to the far outside fourth. They're down the backstretch. Lisa's Dandy moves in to be fifth. Followed by Touch of Summer in sixth. Double AC seventh. Don't Lie to Me in eighth. After that, it's True Image and D.J. Gray as they battle for position and the lead of the opening quarter. Attitude cuts this one out. C.C. Tessie in second, a quick 28-1. Past the stands, they roll to the half-mile pole. Attitude will try to make every pull the winning one. C.C. Tessie, the stalker, in second, followed favorite in third. That's Newcomb Vespers. After that, Racin' Jesse B, Lisa's Dandy in fifth. Second division, six-back Touch of Summer, Double AC along the rail. Don't Lie to Me is eighth up on the outside. True Image is ninth. The tailgate, DJ Gray. Around the clubhouse, turn to the half. Attitude, trying to make every pull. Winning one stays there in 59-2. Out of the turn and down the backstretch. Attitude on top by a length. C.C. Tessie in the garden spot second. Driving up on the outside, Newcomb Vespers to third. Nowhere to go in fourth. As they move down the backstretch, Touch of Summer. Driving up on the outside, Racin' Jesse B. As they leave the 5/8 and head to 3/4. Still in command, and she's been there every step of the way. Attitude. C.C. Tessie cocked, locked, and ready to rock. Newcomb Vespers is third in the center. Racin' Jesse B on the far outside. Moving by 3/4 in 129-2. Field swings around the far turn to the head of the stretch. Attitude a length. C.C. Tessie coming like a pocket rocket. Newcomb Vespers up on the outside. Little bit of interference here at the head of the stretch. Driving away on top, C.C. Tessie on the outside now gets the lead. It's C.C. Tessie, Touch of Summer, C.C. Tessie in front. Please hold all tickets. Here comes the field for tonight's second race, second half of the daily double. Number 1, Carry the Lady, owned by Ken Appleman, driven by Bill Long Jr. 2, Express Delivery, owned by Charles Kidd with Kenny Kidd. 3, Artichoke, owned by J. Pat Huber, Kathy Montgomery, and Harold Breedenbach with Dick Richardson Jr. 4, Overflyer, owned by driver Ron Steck and John Wilson. Number 5 is Jethro, owned by Holmes Stock Farm, Buddy Epson and Irene Ryan with David Hawk. Number 6 is Spry Miss, owned by Elman Bread with Mitchell Nault. 7, Rum's Last Shot, owned by Franklin Reichart, and driver change to Del S. Miller. Number 8 will follow 8, Al B. Lucky, owned by Madeline Johnson, David Morgan. Jack Morgan will drive. Number 9 is My Speed, owned by George Albert and Dan Ader. Number 10, Leader Sabra, owned by John Bussey. David Miller will be in the sulky. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. Jethro between horses takes the lead. Express Delivery is toward the rail. There goes Rum's Last Shot, trotting up on the outside third. Spry Miss, middle of the racetrack, fourth. Carry the Lady is fifth. Moving up on the outside, LB Lucky sixth. Down the backstretch to the turn, over Flyer. After that, Artichoke, leader Sabra. And up on the outside, My Speed is 10th and last. Real scramble here for position as they rock and roll by the opening quarter-mile pole in a pretty good 29-1. Trotting past the stands, Rum's Last Shot leads away by an easy length and a half. Trotting up on the outside, Spry Missed the Long Mile second. Pocket Sitter, Jethro third. Carry the Lady is fourth. Toward the Rail Express Delivery is in the fifth. Up on the outside, Artichoke is sixth. Trotting seventh, Over Flyer as they make their way through the paddock turn. My Speed is up on the outside toward the rail as they hit the half-mile station. LB Lucky and the trailer is leader Sabra in a minute and 2/5. Leader Sabra was off stride. They're out of the turn and down the backstretch. Spry Miss on the outside takes the lead by a nose. Rum's Last Shot alongside second. Carry the Lady 3 wide on the outside third. Jethro is fourth, middle of the racetrack. Artichoke to fifth. Express Delivery is sixth. Between horses, My Speed seventh. LB Lucky is eighth on the outside. Over Flyer and leader Sabra. 9 have a shot in this one, racing by 3/4 in 1:30 3. Trotting around the far turn, Carry the Lady now gets the lead. Carry the Lady, Artichoke on the outside with the Marinated Journey comes on to take over. Artichoke on the far outside now gets the lead. Carry the Lady is in the second. Giving way, Rum's Last Shot third. Jethro is shaking free. Express Delivery closing too little, too late. Artichoke in hand and in command. Here comes the unofficial winner of tonight's second race, number 3, Artichoke. 3-year-old bay colt by Christus Crown out of Salinas, owned by J. Pat Huber, Kathy Montgomery, Harold Breedenbach of Ohio and Kentucky. Driven and trained by Dick Richardson Jr. Covering the mile here in 2 minutes flat. Number 3, Artichoke, the unofficial winner of tonight's second race. Two Express Delivery was third. Number 7, Rum's Last Shot, fourth. Result of tonight's second race is now official. Windows are open on the third. Superfecta wagering. No changes in the third in a field of 10. We'll set a post time here in just a second. Here comes the field for the third. Superfecta wagering, 1 TDF Baskin, owned by Michael James Pointer. Dave Hawk drives. 2 Wholesale Merchant, leased by James Sparks with Bob Harper. 3 Licensed to Race, leased by James Gregg with Randy Tharps. 4 Classic Cavalier, owned by Frank Palmer. Dallas Miller will be aboard. Number 5 is Terrasol, owned by Constance Messler with Ron Powell in the bike. 6 Bonjour, owned by Bill Carruthers and David Miller. 7 is Sacra Spur, owned by Merle Moore with Jack Daly. Number 8 is Starwell, owned by George Jones with Jeff Fout. Number 9 is Barnabas, owned by Alan Hanius with Dan Ader. And number 10, High Elvis, owned by Larry Fullen. Brad Hanners in the sulky. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Way to a good start. Bonjour on the far outside takes the lead. TDF Baskin, Licensed to Race on the outside, and Wholesale Merchant along the rail. Driving up on the far outside, Barnabas to fifth. As they make their way to the first turn, Classic Cavalier. Out of the second tier, High Elvis. After that comes Terrasol. 3 more lengths, Sacra Spur. Starwell, the tailgate seating arrangements are complete. Moving by the opening quarter, Dave Miller and Bonjour are there in a quick 27-4. Past the stands to the half-mile pole. Bonjour bouncing along a length and a half, followed by TDF Baskin on his heels in second. Licensed to Race a closer third. Moving up on the outside, Classic Cavalier to fourth. Wholesale Merchant fifth. Barnabas is underway again. Here comes High Albus. Starwell is up on the outside. Terrasol ninth on the rail. Tailgate sitter is Sacra Spur, hub to hub at the half-mile pole. Bonjour leads away in 59 up the backstretch. Bonjour continues to show his heels to the field. TDF Baskins is second. Driving up on the outside, Classic Cavalier to third. Licensed to Race fourth. Barnabas coming on fifth. Down the backstretch, Wholesale Merchant, Starwell to the far outside. Terrasol dropping back in the center, High Albus. The trailer is still Sacra Spur as they trot by 3/4. Pacing away on top, it's still Bonjour in 127 and 4. Bonjour leads the way. Pocket Rocket Journey for TDF Baskin. Nowhere to go, Licensed to Race. He's looking for the passing lane. Classic Cavalier is in the center. Wholesale Merchant on the far outside. They're into the stretch. TDF Basket on the outside. Bonjour Licensed to Race. Wholesale Merchant on the far outside. Bonjour and Licensed to Race. Too wide, and who do you like? Superfecta 3-6-1-5, 361-60, 361-60. Next post at 8:38. Was ninth. 3-5-1-6-4-2. Here's a fourth, start of the early pick three. Number 1, I'm Just a Kid, owned by Nancy Cormick and Rod Broadstone, driven by Brad Buxton. Number 2 is Flack Flash, owned by Jarrah Stables with Dave Hawk. 3, T-Tars Prime Time, owned by George Feltner with Don Feaster. Number 4 is Hey Just Say No, owned by Dick and Donna Will with Brett Merkel. 5 is JMC, owned by Ruth Carroll. Dan Ader will be in the bike. 6, Crown Time Starlet, owned by the Crown Time Farm with David Miller. 7, Hills Sassy Sis, owned by Sturgill Lohman and Walter Miller with Del S. Miller. Number 8 is Super High Power, owned by Mike Saylor Jr. with Ron Steck. 9, Self-Imposed, owned and driven by Al Gobble. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting between horses. Flack Flash, the 2 is off stride. Moving for the lead, T-Tars Prime Time, middle of the racetrack. Hey, Just Say No. Driving up on the far outside, JMC to third. Crown Time Starlet quickly settles into fourth along the rail. Moving up on the outside, Self-Imposed to fifth as they trot to the turn. I'm Just a Kid. The rail horse comes off the pylons, trots up on the outside. Next in line, Hill Sassy Sis, Super High Power, and Flack Flash. They're open up here in 28 and 4. Racing past the stands to the half-mile pole. In command every step of the way so far. It's Hey, Just Say No. Self-Imposed the long mile in second. T-Tars Prime Time to third. Favorite swings up on the outside. Crown Time Starlet to fourth as they make their way through the paddock turn. At the half-mile pole, Hey, Just Say No leads the way. On her heels in second, T-Tars Prime Time. Self-Imposed gaining ground on the outside. Toward the rail, JMC, fourth, Crown Time Starlet, live cover, ready to come, 3 wide, and here she comes, being slingshotted to the far outside. I'm Just a Kid, swings up on the far outside. Hill Sassy Sis, Super High Power, and at the end, the trailer is Flack Flash. Trotting to 3/4, Crown Time Starlet forges to the front from between horses. Hey, Just Say No, second, I'm Just a Kid. Rallies 3 deep to third and a quick 129. Around the far turn, 3 horses are across the track, vying for command. Crown Time Starlet by a length. Moving up on the outside, I'm Just a Kid. Fighting back in the rail, Hey, Just Say No. Late kick on the far outside for JMC. Under confident handling, it's the 3-5 favorite. Crown Time Starlet. Hey, Just Say No, fighting back. Crown Time Starlet will hold on. 6 Crown Time Starwood holds on. Number 4, Hey Just Say No, was second. 1, I'm Just a Kid, third. And 5, JMC, was fourth. In the winner's circle is Crown Time Starwood, a 5-year-old bay mare by Scimitar out of Crown Time Star. Ona MacArthur by the Crown Time Farms, trained by Earl Owings. Driven tonight by Dave Miller to a hard-earned victory in 158-4. Going over $100,000 in career earnings with that victory. Number 6, Crown Time Starlet, the winner of tonight's fourth. Smoking patrons, your area now located Grandstand Mezzanine North End. Coffee Hanover, owned by Marilyn Bowder, driven by Bob Harper. 2, Look Peaches, owned by Ralph Napper, driven by Brad Hanners. 3, Rembrandt's Jessica, owned by Jim Chaliff and Michael Van Autry with Randy Tharps. 4, Montego Sun has been scratched. 5, Never So Rich, owned by Merle Moore in the bike Jack Daly. 6, Sunny Sally, owned by Ira Kreitzer and Jody Essig. 7, Katerina Wick, owned by Mark Klotz and Dave Besser with David Miller. Number 8, Maggie Simpson, owned by Tom Martin with Jay Veach. Number 9, Madam Gay, owned by Dan, Kyle, and Earl Ader with Dan Ader. And number 10, Scoreboard Patty, owned by Milton Wilkinson. Jeff Fout will be in the cell. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Middle of the racetrack, Sunny Sally takes the lead. Toward the rail, Look Peaches in the second. Middle of the racetrack, Never So Rich third. Here comes Maggie Simpson, 3 wide on the outside to fourth. Buffy Hanover gets away fifth. After that, Rembrandt's Jessica. The 10, Scoreboard Petty. Katerina Wick, and at the end of the trailer is Madam Gay. 3 horses are now across the track, vying for command. Never So Rich with a short lead by the opening quarter, a quick 28-2. Racing off that top turn past the stands to the half. Action continues. Getting starched pretty good in here. Never So Rich. Moving up on the outside, Maggie Simpson to second. She's getting the Bark Journey in third. Around the clubhouse turn, Sunny Sally fourth. Rembrandt's Jessica rides up on the outside as they make their way through the clubhouse turn. After that, Look Peaches in fifth. Followed by Scoreboard Patty up on the outside. Buffy Hanover along the rail. Katerina Wick looks to do a double axel from the back of the pack, and Madam Gay. Hub to hub at the half in 58-2. Randy Tharps tugs the right line. Rembrandt's Jessica rolls up on the outside, but Never So Rich continues to lead the way. Sunny Sally the stalker every step second. Rembrandt's Jessica moving up on the outside to third. Nowhere to go, Look Peaches fourth. Katerina Wick on the far outside rocks into fifth. Dropping back between horses, Scoreboard Petty moving by 3/4 in 128-1. Driving around the far turn, Never So Rich by ahead. Rembrandt's Jessica right alongside in second. Katerina Wick under a left-handed whip in third. Along the rail, Sunny Sally fourth. They're into the stretch. Rembrandt's Jessica, middle of the racetrack. Never So Rich. Sunny Sally along the rail. The 3 looks like she might reach. Rembrandt's Jessica in front. Result of tonight's 5th race is now official. In the winner's circle is 3, Rembrandt's Jessica, improving 6-year-old brown mare by Ideal Society out of Lottie's Lady. Owned by Jim Chaliff and Michael Van Autry of Dayton, trained by Carl Bray. Driven tonight by Randy Tharps. Covering the mile in 158. Number 3, Rembrandt's Jessica, the winner. And that is a driving double so far tonight for Randy Tharps. Post time, 14 minutes away, 9:19. No changes in the 6th. 3-6 exacta, $72.60, $72.60. Here's a field for tonight's 6th race. Exacta trifecta wagering 1, Jake's Cash, owned and driven by Al Gobble. Number 2 is Grand Debonair, owned by Jerry Grant. Den Ader will have the drive. 3 is Crown Jeweler, owned by Harold Breitenbach with Harold Dick. Number 4, White in His Eye, owned by the Hatfield Stables with Trader Bud. Number 5, Springover, owned by Dean and Denny Miller with Jeff Fout. 6, White Wall Crown, owned by Warren Hohen and Jeff Smith. 7 is Oak Lawn Carrot, owned and driven by Jeff Dennis. 8, Word of Prayer, owned by Barbara Stoltz and Al Denton with Bill Herman. Number 9 is Wild Louie, owned by John Howman with David Miller. Number 10 is Pass the Ammo, owned by Melody Ross. Dave Hawk will be in the sulky. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. Grand Debonair and Jake's Cash are out for the lead, and there goes Oaklawn Carrot on the far outside. Whitewall Crown a snug fourth. They're down the backstretch. Word of Prayer moving up on the outside to fifth, past the ammo out of the second tier to sixth. Crown Jeweler seventh, White in His Eye is eighth. Far outside, Wild Louie ninth. Springover will chug from the back of the pack. Pretty good clip here as their quarter pole bound. Trotting away on top in 27-4. Racing past the stands, moving away on top by about 2 lengths. Jake's Cash. Jake's Cash has got the top being sent and sent hard. Trotting up on the outside second, Whitewall Crown. Saving ground, Grand Debonair third. Long Mile Oaklawn Carrot fourth, past the ammo fifth. White in His Eye is off stride, 10th and last. 9 left in this one around the paddock turn. Jake's Cash trying to make every pole when anyone leads the way. Whitewall Crown right there in second. Grand Debonair third. Back to the rail, Oaklawn Carrot fourth. Past the ammo, barrels blazing, moves up on the outside. Word of Prayer, here comes the favorite Springover. Second over to the far outside. Dropping back, Crown Jeweler. Starting up on the far outside, Wild Louie. And the trailer far back after that costly break, White in His Eye. Racing to 3/4. Here comes Springover with a rush. And he is absolutely gobbling up ground by 3/4 in a fast 127. From worst to first on the far outside, Springover now gets the lead. Springover's got the top a length and a half. Jake's Cash gives way grudgingly. Whitewall Crown is next as the field straightens away. Rocking chair drive in progress here. Springover on top by a widening 8. Jake's Cash, Grand Debonair along the rail. In between horses, Whitewall Crown. Springover jogs in 157. Here comes the unofficial winner of the 6th, number 5, Springover. 4-year-old bay gelding by Overcomer out of Spring Garden. Owned by Dean and Deddy Miller of Archibald, Ohio. Trained by Steve Brennan. Given tonight a rocking chair drive by Jeff Fout. To cover the mile here in 157 and a lifetime best. Number 5, Springover, the winner of tonight's 6th race. The 5-1 exacta returning $15.80. 3 out of 3 in the pick 3. Winning numbers are 6, 3, and 5. 15, Grand Debonair, 4th, Crown Jeweler 8th, White in His Eye 10th. Springover, the winner, Whitewall Crown 3rd, Oaklawn Carrot. Here comes the field for tonight's 7th race. Twin Trifecta Exchange, exacta and trifecta wagering. Number 1, Look Annie, owned by Michael Parker, driven by Rick Heitman. Number 2 is Halcyon's Prelude, owned by Vicky Ladard, with a driver change to Bob Harper. Number 3, KC's Lil Sis, owned by James and Sybil Shazam. Mike Metters, Rainsman Randy Tharps. Number 4, Carbohydrate, owned by Ann Hildebrand with Jeff Fout. Number 5 is Sea Power, owned by Maple Valley Farm with David Miller. 6 is Sweet Iris, owned by Bill M. with Dave Hawk. 7, Odd Efficacy, owned by Pacey Minland, Ken Cohen, Jody Essig. Number 8 is Earn a Living, owned by Lowell Prickett with Mark Evers. 9, Velvet Viking, owned by Mark Heath with Don Feaster. Number 10, Sold on You, owned by Roland Rue. Brad Hanners will be in the sulky. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Carbohydrate takes the lead. Look Annie speeding on the rail, driving up on the far outside. Earn a Living from 3rd. Halcyon's Prelude, Sold on You, being taken back a bit. KC's Lil Sis, followed by Sea Power, Sweet Iris. After that, Odd Efficacy and Velvet Viking. 3 horses are across the track, vying for command in a total mission. Earn a Living on the far outside, parked 3 deep, 27-2. Off that top turn and racing past the stands. Earn a Living on the outside now gets the lead. Right alongside in second, Look Annie. Halcyon's Prelude to 3rd. Sold on You starts the action from mid-pack 4th. Carbohydrate needs some protein in 5th. Moving up on the outside, KC's Lil Sis to 6th. Underway, Sea Power 7th. Odd Efficacy is 8th. Sweet Iris is 9th on the outside. Velvet Viking 10th and last and 56-2. Up the backstretch. Look, Annie continues to lead the way. Here's Sold on You coming up from between horses. Halcyon's Prelude. Sea Power begins to roll on the far outside. She might be the real McCoy tonight, but has jumped off stride. Even Money Favorite is on a break. Racing by 3/4. Look, Annie by ahead. Halcyon's Prelude second. Here comes Sweet Iris with a power sweep on the far outside. Racing by 3/4 in 1:26 and 3. Far outside, Sweet Iris takes off, gets command. Up on the far outside, Odd Efficacy. I doubt if the Twin Try will live tonight. Racing through the stretch. Sweet Iris on top. Odd Efficacy is next. Fighting back along the rail, Halcyon's Prelude with Sold on You. Deep stretch. It's Sweet Iris. The Bomb will be second. Odd Efficacy close for third. Here comes the Hawkman, Dave Hawkins, Sweet Iris, and 5-year-old brown mare goalie Jeff Sweet Phyllis, owned in Lockbourne, right across the street by Bill M., trained by Alex Spence Jr., driven by David Hawk, covering the mile in 1:56 and 2 in a lifetime best. Number 6, Sweet Iris, the winner. 10,700 in the Twin Trifecta carryover. Here comes the field for tonight's 8th race as this 11-race program continues. Number 1 is Steady Mahone, owned by Neil and Alvin Long, driven by Brad Hanners. 2, Commence Firing, owned by Emmanuel Hayden Jr. and Bob Harper. 3, Delusion of Grandeur, owned by Gerald, Diana, and Jeff Cimini and Robert Salzberger with Terry R. Thomas. 4, Dazzler Nuke, owned by driver Elliot Deaton and Steve Morningstar. 5, Mr. Precious, owned and driven by Ralph Lunsford. 6, Payne Road Scooter, owned by Mary Dillon and the bike Don Feaster. 7 is Beeler Hanover, owned by Charles Green with Ron Steck. 8, Tallapoosa, owned by Donald Robinson with Dave Hawk. Number 9 is CL Boy, owned by Roy Murphy and Larry King with David Miller. Number 10, The Competitor, owned by Enlo Atkinson. Ron Powell will be in the sulky. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and pacing. Dazzler Nuke between horses takes the lead. Steady Mahone is along the rail. Beeler Hanover, middle of the racetrack. Up on the far outside, Tallapoosa to fourth. But now being taken back off a bit. Here comes the Competitor quickly out of the second tier. He's flashing some good gate speed tonight. As they move to the quarter-mile pole, CL Boy, gap of 3. Long Shot Commence Firing, Delusion of Grandeur. Payne Road Scooter and Mr. Precious, they open up in a snappy 27 and 4. They're off that top turn and racing past the stand to the half-mile pole. Free-legged old man at 12 years old, Beeler Hanover has brushed to the front. Beeler Hanover now moves away on top by a length. Dazzler Nuke will get the No Excuse Journey the rest of the way from second. Steady Mahone is gapping third. The Competitor drives up on the outside fourth. Around the clubhouse turn, Tallapoosa to fifth. CL Boy second, move to the outside. Delusion of Grandeur begins to kick in. Commence Firing, filtering his way back through the field. Here's Mr. Precious up on the outside and Payne Road Scooter. They're at the half-mile pole in 56 and 4. Warden Ron Stack taking no prisoners in here on the Shawshank Redemption Journey. Moving into 3/4. Been there just about every step of the way. Beeler Hanover. The Competitor is up on the outside. Dazzler Nuke cocked, locked, and ready to rock in 1:26 and 4 as the field swings around the far turn. By a half a length along the rail, leader remains Beeler Hanover. Driving up on the outside, the Competitor. Dazzler Nuke is waiting for the passing lane. They're into the stretch. Under Ron Stack's right-handed whip, it's Beeler Hanover. Dazzler Nuke is now closing on the rail. In between horses, Tallapoosa. Dazzler Nuke is going to reach. Dazzler Nuke, Beeler Hanover, and maybe the 8, Tallapoosa third. Here's the unofficial winner of the 8th, number 4, Dazzler Nuke, a 5-year-old bay gelding by Nuke's Image out of Bedazzle. Owned by Elliot Deaton of Lebanon, Steve Morningstar of Monroe, driven and trained by Elliot Deaton to a hard-earned victory here. 157 and 3 for Dazzler Nuke, the unofficial winner of the 8th. 4-7-8 try. Tonight's invitational trot. Start of the final pick 3. No changes in tonight's 9th race. Exactin trifecta. Number 1 is Sunny Speedster, owned by Gary Cameron, driven by Don Feaster. 2, Joie Cha-Ching, owned by L. Bud Veneer, driven by Dan Veneer. Number 3 is Holly Hill Disco, owned by the Hatfield Stables with Trader Bud. 4 is Doc Mistake, owned by Leonard Buckner. Jeff Fout will be aboard. 5, Striker Action, owned by Holmes Stock Farm with Dave Hawk. 6, What a Message, owned by Glenn Brandon with Jody Essig. Number 7, T. Cody, owned by Walter Beaver. David Miller will be in the sulky. T. Cody is parading at the rear and is coming out onto the track right now. Field for tonight's featured 9th race trot has taken that final turn. Starting gate is underway. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're off and trotting. Holly Hill Disco between horses takes the lead. Striker Action, middle of the racetrack. Wash Cha-Ching moves in to be third. They're speeding down the backstretch. Sunny Speedster is next. Doc Mistake has just made one. He's off stride. T. Cody circles up on the outside. Now takes the duck and tuck to 5th. After that, What a Message, and Doc Mistake is far back. 6 lengths apart, quarter-mile pole bound. Holly Hill Disco for Trader Bud's going to zoom him by there in 28-1. Field of 7 in parade, trotting off the quarter-mile pole. Holly Hill Disco will try to go as far as he can on the front end. Wash Cha-Ching, the stalker, second, followed by Striker Action, third. Sunny Speedster, fourth. T. Cody, fifth. After that, What a Message, and off stride again, Doc Mistake. Around the clubhouse, turn to the half-mile pole. Holly Hill Disco by 2. On his heels in second, Wash Cha-Ching. They're at the half-mile pole. Trader Bud out on top in 57-2. Straightening out for their long journey down the backstretch. Still in command, 3 parts of a length. Holly Hill Disco. Wash Cha-Ching comes to the outside. Sunny Speedster along the rail. Striker Action into the late action to 4th. Here comes T. Cody catching the bus in 5th. Nowhere to go. What a Message, 6th, and Doc Mistake. First 6 are hub to hub. Rolling by 3/4. Wash Cha-Ching on the outside now gets the lead in a fast 1:26-3. They'll trot the turn and come on home. We'll see if T. Cody can pick them up by about a length and a half. Well into the middle of the racetrack. Wash Cha-Ching leads the way. T. Cody on High Street picks him up on the far outside. Here comes Striker Action, middle of the racetrack. Inside the final 16th. Dan Veneer is all over Wash Cha-Ching. T. Cody charging at him. T. Cody coming on. Here comes the winner of the 9th, number 7, T. Cody. 4-year-old bay gelding by Armbro Iliad out of Make It Mine, and Hilliard by Walter Beaver, trained by Robert Del Bianco. Driven tonight by David Miller, covering that mile here in 1:56 and a lifetime best. Number 7, T. Cody, the winner of the 9th. Post time 14 minutes away, 10:37. 7-2 Exactum. $24 even. The try, $267.80. Windows are now up and on race number 10. Jody Essig driving 9, Pleasing Kip. Post time at 10:37. In a lifetime best. And number 1, Toss the Coin, owned by Tom Colvin and Michael Colvin. Randy Tharps drives. 2R Jam, owned and driven by Jack Daly. Number 3 is Garusum, leased and driven by Chris McGuire. Number 4, AP King, owned by Arthur Epking and Dave Hawk. 5, Enchanted Mirage, owned by Enchanted Willows Farm and Rosa Miller with Jeff Fout. 6, Wiley Deer, owned by John Welly and Ron Steck. 7 is the Warplane, owned by Doug Parker and Harry Berger with David Miller. Number 8 is Lend a Penny, owned by Mark Deaton, Raymond and Robert Straw with Elliot Deaton. Number 9, Pleasing Kip, owned by Dolly Hessler, and the driver changed to Jody Essig. And here comes the 10, Sam Sir Knight, leased by Jim Arledge. Del S. Miller will be in the sulky. Field for the 10th, post time in 6 minutes. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're often pacing. Enchanted Mirage takes the lead. Gruesome between horses. Our Jam on the rail would toss the coin out of the second tier. Sam Sir Knight to 5th. They're down the backstretch. AP King is next, followed up on the outside by Wiley Deer, War Pain, Lend a Penny, and Pleasing Kip as they race to the opening turn. Moving away on top, it's Gruesome by a length and a half. In their second, Our Jam, followed by Enchanted Mirage, third. They open up here in a solid 28-1. Racing past the stands to the half-mile pole. Field is now lengths apart, leading the way Gruesome for Chris McGuire. Here comes the 10, Sam Sir Knight, under an all-out drive around the clubhouse turn. Sam Sir Knight up on the outside, Gruesome along the rail second, followed by Our Jam in third. After that, the early lever, Enchanted Mirage, as they make their way to the half-mile pole. From out of the second tier, as they drive up on the outside, toss the coin after that, AP King. Saving ground, Pleasing Kip between horses, Wiley Deer, Warplane, and Lend a Penny. They're at the half in 58-2. Down the backstretch. Gruesome trying to make every pole winning one stays there. Sam Sir Knight lives on the outside second. Our Jam in third. Wiley Deer on the far outside to fourth. Enchanted Mirage off the rail in fifth. Followed by Toss the Coin in sixth. On the extreme outside, Warplane seventh. But Ron Stack has gun Wiley Deer into the lead by 3/4 in 128. Moving around the far turn. Sam Sir Knight, though, is fighting back along the rail. Sam Sir Knight back on top by a head. Wiley Deer right alongside in second, racing through the stretch. Sam Sir Knight trying to put away Wiley Deer. Sam Sir Knight has got the pylons and the lead. Wiley Deer is up on the outside. Enchanted Mirage will finish third. Tight at the end of it. The 10 may have held. Back to the winner's circle. 5-year-old Bay Gunning by Cam Tastic out of Princess Sam. Leased by Jim Ulrich of Mount Sterling. Trained by Jim Ulrich Jr. Given a hard drive tonight by Del S. Miller. Covering them out here in 157-2 and a lifetime best for 10 Sam Sir Knight. And a driving double tonight for Del S. Miller. 10-6, exacta, $36.20. The trifecta, $4.15.40. Post time, 10:56. It's the 11th and final race as they parade behind Parade Marshal Kathy McDonald. Number 1, Sims Alabin, Bada Bing, Bada Boom, owned by Ernie Martin, driven by Scott Mogan. Number 2, If Only I Could, owned by Sam Coben and Jody Essig. 3, Southern Image, owned by Roy Murphy, driven by Jeff Fout. 4, Superior Society, owned by Lisa Fuller. Frenchie Fuller will be aboard. 5, Ada Energizer, owned by Denny Centers and Russell Dalton with Roy Wilson in the bike. 6, Rick and Dick, owned by Rhonda Stidham and Linda May with Rocky Stidham. 7 is Ram Spirit, owned by Elaine Bray and David Miller. 8, Rob Report, leased by Robert Pryor with Brandy Tharps. 8, James Owen Tudor, leased by Robert Zink and a driver change to David Hawk. 10, Lake Hills Mike, owned by Steve Bowder. Dara Whitaker will be in the sulky. Dave Hawk driving the 9, post time in 6 minutes. Field is now in motion. And there they go. They're often pacing. At an Energizer takes the lead. If Only I Could quickly toward the front end. Driving up on the outside, Rick and Dick to third. Simsalabim watching the speed duel from fourth. Parked out there, fifth, Superior Society. Around the top turn comes Southern Image. 2 more lengths to Ram Spirit. Gap of 3, Lake Hills Mike, followed by Rob Report and James Owen Tudor as they mix this one up here. Driving by the opening quarter in 28 seconds flat. Past the stands to the half-mile pole. If Only I Could will try to make every pole a winning one on the front end. On his heels in second at an Energizer. Rick and Dick to this point third. Sims Alabama looks to flush somebody from fourth, followed by Southern Image in fifth. The favorite is ready to set sail from the rail, and he is now out and moving. Ram Spirit, he'll be tough to dodge. Around the lower turn, here comes Superior Society. Driving up on the outside, Lake Hills Mike. Rob Report coming off the pace, and James Owen Tudor. They're at the half in a moderate 59-2 up the backstretch. Still in command, If Only I Could leads the way. At an Energizer second. Sims Alabim, Southern Image up on the outside. Rick and Dick along the rail. Ram Spirit waiting to come 3 deep at any stage. Toward the rail, Superior Society. Lake Hills Mike is 8th. Rob Report is 9th. James Owen Tudor is 10th and 129-1. Racing around the far turn. If Only I Could has got the lead. At an Energizer second. Here comes Ram Spirit with a lot of work to do. He's now 8 wide at the head of the stretch. Jody Essig brings him on home. At an Energizer between horses. Middle of the racetrack, Southern Image. Up on the far outside, Ram Spirit not good enough tonight. But at an Energizer was he jogs, and it's tight for second. Between 3, Southern Image, 2, If Only I Could, and number 7, Ram Spirit. Three, If Only I Could. Make that 3, Southern Image second. 2, If Only I Could, third. And number 7, Ram Spirit was fourth. Here's Ada Energizer. 5-year-old bay gelding by Energy Burner out of OK's Lulabelle. Owned by Denny Centers and Russell Dalton of Franklin. Trained by Tony Hall. Given a well-judged pocket-saving journey tonight by Roy Wilson. Covering that mile in 1:58-1, 2 in a row for 5. Ada Energizer. The winner of tonight's 11th and final race. 3 out of 3 in the pick 3, 273 even. Those winning numbers were 7, 10, and 5. Here's a rundown of the 11th.